So I felt an impulse to talk about the message of turning the other cheek. Wait on, take my glasses off. I prefer that. So yeah, Jesus. One of his most famous messages was about turning the other cheek. And my God, it's not an easy thing to do, but there's reasons for it, why we need to turn the other cheek. And what I'd like to do is I'm going to share with you a story about my life has been a series of experiences which have been teaching me this lesson, and I'll share with you the most intense lesson, partly because it shows, well, it's just an example of, learning to turn the other cheek, and partly because I'm trying to challenge something in myself, because it was just such a humiliating, horrible experience that I find it actually really hard to talk about. So I'm just trying to challenge myself, because I know the higher truth, that it's all just an illusion and it's all just an unreality. But there was something in me that really treated this experience like it was a horrible reality, but it happened. It happened for a reason, to help me learn how to turn the other cheek and understand why. So, relationship breakups, don't we just love them all, and I went through a very difficult relationship with a woman. I used to identify as homosexual. Now I don't identify as anything. I'm just identity-less, with a woman, and she was what I would describe as being a pretty intense narcissist. And I say that without judgment. It was just like her pattern. It's just a way of explaining the personality types. And I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but I totally recognize in myself this codependent pattern too, because narcissists and codependents, they go together like peaches and cream. So I'm not discounting the patterns I've held at all either. Anyway, so when the relationship came to an end, it was just so intense, and you wouldn't recognize the person talking to you right now. Like, I was such a mess, and yeah, sort of, everything was sort of, not too bad. And she actually sort of came back to me a few days later, after the experience of where it all just exploded, and we'd agreed it was over. And she said, look, I'm willing to work things out, but I'd had enough space to sort of go, yeah, no, it's not going to work. And from that moment, like, she unleashed full hell on me. She was very big in social media. This is, back in 2012. She was very, very big, and, what you'd call an influencer. And she basically, released stories about the reason why we broke up was because I raped her, which, is just ridiculous. But there's something in me that even it still exists there, where I feel like, I've done something, I might have done something wrong, and I just looked at myself, and I felt so awful. But then I just went through like this dualistic battle with myself, of partly feeling like I've been blamed and I've done something wrong, I might have done something wrong, and then the other part which was like, but it's not true. It's not true at all. Like, and this desperate need to defend myself, and to, thousands and thousands of people with whom, this rumor was being spread. And Yeah, it was crushing, absolutely crushing, and I can smile about it now. But man, like I was dealing with suicidal thoughts. Like absolutely wrecked. The entire experience wrecked me, and but in a good way, because I just I had to turn to God, and the masters, and I didn't know they were the masters at that point, but that's obviously who was helping me. But I just cried out like, help, 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 like I don't know what to do here. And just that one message was like, I just began to sort of see, go through the process of saying like, what is it going to achieve if I defend myself here? What it's not going to really help anything. Like it's just going to pull me into the loop of giving her exactly what she wanted, or other people exactly what they wanted, and then you just get this. It's the classic dualistic thing, game of attacking and defending, and there is no way out of it. Once somebody starts attacking you, like, if you defend, you're immediately getting caught in the cycle of attack and defend. There's no avoiding it. And I remember, I think it was I turned to A Course in Miracles the year after that, and I remember one of the first, one of the lessons in A Course in Miracles that really jumped out at me, which said that attack and defend are both sides of the same coin. And I really, I understood it was true, but I really sort of struggled with that for quite a while. Like I was really like shocked by like, wow, are they really? Like, are they the same thing? And but it stuck with me. It stuck with me, that message, that lesson. That yeah, they are. They're exactly the same thing, because you can't have an attack without a defense. Like if someone sort of gets attacked and the other person doesn't defend themselves, then it kind of like this, it removes the power from the situation. Like it removes the energy of fight and war, and unpeace. So yeah, so that's the lesson on turning the other cheek. And why turn the other cheek? So, well, it's the only option which doesn't play into the cycle of duality. The loop, the endless loop of going around and round and round of attack and defend and attack and defend. And the Buddha talks about the middle way. And so, and this is what we're talking about here, like, turning the other cheek. It's the middle way. It's not caught in any dualistic extreme. It is, and it's not the center. It's not even in between the two dualistic extremes. It's just purely the option, and the option that is available, which is to just not play into the game at all. By playing into the game, we keep it alive. By walking away from it, it loses its power. It loses it. How can it stay alive? It can only stay alive if our minds keep it alive. So yeah, that's the story of turning the other cheek.